Welcome back to another episode of Lul Hates Coding. Today we're going to be talking about the process in which we found the way to convert the battery life information given to us and converting that information into amp hours. To do this, we need to apply some basic Python knowledge and its internal functions. By using the internal code libraries of Python, we are able to insert the battery information into Python as a .csv file. To analyze the code, we need to turn the data into a 2D list. By doing so, we can analyze the data and apply simple functions to it. To find the amp hours, we need to find a couple things first. So we have a time across the data, but it's in seconds, and we need that time in hours. So to do this, we need to find the number of seconds that the battery is on for, and then we convert the seconds to minutes and minutes to hours. You can see the code I attempted to use below. I applied the append function, which can adjust the output of a list or value in a dataset. I used this function throughout the coding process, and then I stopped, because there's a lot easier way of doing this. Have you guys ever heard of Wang Wang and Funi? Well, this has nothing to do with animals at the Adelaide Zoo, but instead with a software library called Pandas. Pandas software library allows us to convert the data into a datasheet, similar to the format that Microsoft software called Excel uses. By doing this, we are able to make simple changes to a datasheet stored in the memory of the platform. This allows us to make additional columns in the datasheet and apply changes to said columns quickly and effectively. But to do this, we need something else. We need NumPy. NumPy is another coding library that allows us to combine the simplicity of pandas with mathematical functions needed to convert the information given to us to the information needed. By doing this, we don't have to do a lot of coding. As seen on the screen, it takes less than 20 lines of code to go from a text document to a working data frame, and that gives me all the information I need. So where to start? Well, let's go line by line. Because I'm using Google Colab, which is an online Python platform, I need to import the link to my Google Drive to the memory of the Python console. I can do this by doing the following. So I'll import the libraries Pandas and NumPy. Next, I'll import the document that I'll be analyzing. To do this, I need to find the directory link in my Google Drive that corresponds with the correct version of the document I need to use. I then label the link as df. By doing this, I can use the functions of Pandas without having to write the import link every time I need to use the term df, which is a lot. Once it's all imported, we can get the actual code that I need to do. By using a combination of Pandas and NumPy, I'm able to make new columns from a combination of mathematical functions using the original columns. There are 4 lines of code that complete the requirements of the assignment. The first line is to calculate the ampage of the battery. I do this by dividing the battery voltage column by 5. As a result, we find the ampage for the battery for each timestamp. The second line is to convert the time from seconds into hours. To do this, we need to convert the seconds to hours, of course, but also we need to make sure that it's the time step, not the amount of seconds that the battery is being recorded for, but the amount of time between timestamps, which is 5 seconds. The last 2 lines of code are most important. These are the amp hours and total amp hours. The second to last line is the amp hours per timestamp. What this is the amount of time between timestamps multiplied by the ampage that the battery is using/producing. The total amp hour is a sum of all the amp hours amounts, but only when the battery is on. To do this, we have to use a command called .where. By using this, we can add an exclusion to the sum of all the amounts of the column. By using the .where command, we can make it so that the sum is only for when the battery is on, aka when the column on/off does not equal 0. This can be seen here. The final line of code is to print the data in its entirety. This can give us all the information we have added and all the information we need. There were a couple things that went wrong while attempting to do this assignment. I've been convinced by several people that I need to use a less efficient way of calculating and adding to the columns. This extended my confusion to the point where I couldn't complete the assignment on time. But other than that, once I started using Pandas, it was pretty straightforward. If I were to do this assignment again, I would give myself more lenience with how I go about programming the functions instead of getting all confused, and I would do it the way I know how to. I would also avoid getting COVID, so that I actually have the brain power to function and do the coding I need to do. Overall, I think that it went well under the circumstances I gave myself, and this data processing was much easier than using SQL, but that's because I've used Python before.